What's up, everyone? So, Raid Builder has gDKP mode complete and it is released. So, I thought I would go over the guild creation and all the good stuff you need to know to set up and use a gDKP guild on Raid Builder. So, you're going to come down to Build Guild and you're going to fill out the name and description and then select gDKP and it'll set that all up for you. It says creating guild, and here's the demo guild. So I'm going to select the demo guild, and probably the first thing you want to do is come to the settings and make sure they are set how you want them to. So like this is where you set the light mode logo, the dark mode logo, the avatar. So that's over here. It can be a GIF if you want it to be. So then your percent admin cut's going to be right here. DKP tick value, that's how much attendance credit everyone's going to get. The starter DKP is how much everyone's going to get when they join the guild. So I set that high for gDKP guilds. And if you want to give out a boxing bonus, so if anyone has any boxes in the raid, they will get this bonus, and per box bonus is just they will get credit for each box, that amount. So yeah, you could set this to like 10 and this to 1 if you wanted to give people like an extra 10% per box. So there's that, and there's allow alt mains. If you want to allow that, you can. This will just enable people to create alt mains, and it just makes it so that if they're playing a different character on the raid, it'll get picked up as if they're a main and they'll get this DKP tick value. And so then here are your auction settings: min bid, min up bid, all pretty self-explanatory. Percent based min up bid, that will get enforced, and they won't be able to place a bid unless they go up by the correct percent. The rest of it should be pretty self-explanatory. You've got this auction refresh time, so if a bid gets placed below 10 seconds, it'll refresh the timer to 10 seconds. You can fill that out. And win multiple per auction, I'm gonna check that, so that'll pretty self-explanatory again, but it depends on what you're doing. Some eras it's good to have win multiple per auction, some eras it's not. You can change it whenever you want. You've got members delete their own bids. They'll be able to delete their own bids at any time, and here they'll only be able to delete if their bid is double the next highest bid. And allow wishlist auto bidders, that lets people create auto bidders for items that will fire whether they have the app open or not. And auto bidders must be present means that these wishlist auto bidders will not fire unless they have a tick in the current raid. So that's all your DKP settings. After that, the next logical thing to do is probably come over here to members. So you'll have your members come to find guild and apply to the guild here. And then you'll come to members, and here I'll apply to this guild on my phone real quick so everyone can see what goes on here. So here comes my phone. Just hit apply, and there he is. So he's unconfirmed, and this means he does not have access to the guild. If he tries accessing it, he will not be able to, but you can just tap on the rank here to promote and use a long press to demote. And yeah, there's help tips throughout the app to walk you through everything. But yeah, so people will join. And then when everyone's joined, you can come and you can come to the classes. This is just where you set up the raid bot to like with all the classes. There's priorities right here and presets right here. You can get an idea of how I build the groups, but it's all customizable to tell the bot how you want it. And again, it's a long press to delete priorities in this window. And so yeah, that's the bot. So after everyone checks in, here I'll just check some tunes in. We'll add an alt main. box. So now this alt main, you can select any main. You can have as many alt mains as you want. You can change your main name right here. So like if you want a main change, you would just request a main change for members, and then guild. This button will turn red if there's name changes. It also turns red if there's members waiting to get access to the guild. And yeah, so you pick a main, pick an alt main, and then you can select whatever boxes you want and hit attend. And this class will get updated every time you check in if you pick a different class for your main. So I'm going to go check my phone in real quick. All right, so he's checked in. And so after everyone checks in for the raid, using the bot is optional. You don't have to. But so say everyone checks in. And here, let me do this. This has to, the event size has to be divisible by the players per group. Just one of the constraints of the bot for making it easier for me to build the groups. But yeah, it's logical anyways, because that's how it is. But so yeah, now you can move people around. It'll order the groups by the class, and your tunes will be in red. And if your group changes, it'll move your group to be first. And it does that for everybody. You can see a summary right here. But yeah, anyways, the bot participation is totally optional. It's nice for group formation ahead of time, but a lot of people like to do that in Discord. But the other thing you can do with the bot is, say you're doing deep splits and you don't want to have to collect a bunch of ticks from a bunch of people. You can hit this raid builder DKP tick down here, and this will let you take a bot tick. So when you take a bot tick, it'll just give credit to everyone here. The bench gets credit. If anyone were to check in right now that the groups are built, they would go to late check-ins, which would pop up here, and the late check-ins will not get credit. But again, it's totally optional to use the bot. You can take manual ticks just by copy pasting an EverQuest raid dump into here, and it'll pick up attendance. It's just really important that everyone has either a main or an alt main in the raid, and otherwise they will get missed. Raid builder doesn't know who they are at that point. But yeah, there's also this view checked in, so you can see who's checked in as what class before raids. Like if you're like our plat raids, I would use this. If we're light on healers, I would bring my healer, or light on tanks, light on DPS, whatever. People can drop out and check in at will on this screen. You can also drop out on the raid bot with a long press. So I'll just kick my box out. And obviously officers can kick anyone here, and everyone else can kick themselves only. So yeah, so this is one place you can take DKP ticks. You can also take DKP ticks right here. You can create new raids right here. After the raid, you're going to want to come do some auctions. So you create those here. I use EQ Raid Boss, which you can find right here for the installer. The eqraidboss.exe is all you need. And I use that because it's got this blocked list. So you can click and hold the block an item, and it won't collect those for you. So here I've just got all the boss loot sorted by what it dropped off of, so that makes blocking stuff really easy. But yeah, so if you do all loot info, it'll give you like a spreadsheet friendly version of all of this. But for creating auctions, I'm just going to go copy items only. And so the format here needs to be one item per line. I'll put what I know is a conflict in there for sure. So say we want 5-minute, 30-second auctions. I'll hit add items, and it's going to go create the auctions. I will get at least one conflict to resolve from the Celestial Fist, because there's multiple Celestial Fists in the game. So I pick the one I want. And so yeah, you can see the stats to make sure you get the right one. So yeah, here's like the evolving level. So I would pick the evolving level one just so people know it's evolving. But yeah, so once you get here, you can filter filter by race and class, and then if you hit add all, it'll only add your filters. So yeah, you hit add all, everyone comes and bids on the My Auctions page, and then when bidding's done, you hit sell completed, and it'll sell all of the completed items. If you just, like, some of them are done and not all of them, you can still hit sell completed, and it'll just increment the timer if it needs to. But that's how people get auctions deleted from their My Auctions page. You can add at any time. You can add time to the all auctions that are still going up here. You can pause all the auctions. You can play and pause them. Play and pause single auctions right here by clicking on the timer, or you can delete a single auction by clicking and holding on one of the items on the all auctions page. And the wish list, this is just like items will show up differently in the all auctions page if they're on your wish list. And if you have an auto bidder set for them, it'll automatically go to your My Auctions page. And then past sales, you can search all of your guild's sold items. And okay, so that once you sell some auctions, you're pretty much good to go. And now I'll get into some of the gDKP specific stuff. So I converted our faceless open plat rate guild to a gDKP guild. One thing you'll want to do is, so like if someone's missing a tick, so because I'm an officer, I see award, but for a member, if you're missing ticks, it'll be a request, and then that'll show up here for all the officers to resolve. But yeah, so once you've sold all your items and stuff, they'll show up here. So you go to the raids and you click on a raid that you want to see, and all the items pop up here, and you can mark these off one at a time if you want. Or what you can do is, so we collect everything and bid it out at the end of the night. So checking off what who's paid and whatnot is a bit of a chore, but it speeds up the raids, less work for most of the people to do. But what I've got here is, so I will clear that clears it. So every time you do this, it's gonna reparse the entire thing, like who is paid. So that's why just hitting yes cleared it. But I've got some test data right here. So this is what everyone paid last night. And so what you could do here, come over to the plat parcels received, and you can either output all parcels or parcel totals. I didn't collect the plat last night. I wasn't there. Someone else did, so I had them send me their output from EQ Raid Boss here. But yeah, so you'll take your parcels received output, which you can set a time for it to parse, and you'll come paste the totals. It doesn't have to be totals. It could be individual. But yeah, you can see the format here. If you had, like, say 2 Demonized Fury parcels in this input, it'll resolve that smartly. But yeah, so I hit yes, and because it's perfect input, that'll work. But let's say Demonized Fury overpaid, then whoops, what did I copy? Oh, I copied the whole thing. That was dumb. Okay, so here. Say Demonized Fury overpaid, you get a difference. And say Demonized Fury underpaid, it'll go through and it'll check off everything they can for him, from cheapest to most expensive. And here's the difference. So he's short 7 plat, which means one of his items isn't going to be checked, and there it is. So once he sends me the 7 plat he owes me, I could check that off manually, or I could just redo the whole thing. Let's say you had parcels from people who are not in the system. So this will, if people send the plat from main, alt main, or box, it'll resolve that smartly since it has that info. But if the person sends it, say from like their trader or something, then you'll get this unresolvable section, and you can copy that if you want to. But yeah, that just says we don't know who this is. And yeah, so when people haven't paid, it'll always send you the diffs. So if I input nothing, it thinks no one has paid, so it shows you this is what they owed in negative. If they overpay, it's a positive number. But yeah, so all very cool. It marks it off for you, and then you're good to go on the paid. On the gDKP splits, I have the same thing set up. So again, I would recommend using RaidBoss since it'll send out your parcels for you. But yeah, you can parse the parcels you have sent out, whether you use the auto send or not, and you can copy that and paste it in here for the paid. But obviously, so that's bad input. So I have the input of split sent from last night. So Endacer sent out all the splits, and you would get this info from right here, and then come to the little credit card for everyone who's paid, copy paste that, and it goes through, or for all the splits sent, and it'll go through and say, okay, sent splits for everyone. And now you know for sure that everyone's paid, everyone knows their splits out. And so say if you have an admin cut will show up here, and that'll come off the top of the total. And the other thing you can do, say you have someone who didn't get a split last week and you want to take the split and you pay them anyways, and you want to take some money out of the split off the top, you just go say I'm going to take out 900,000, missed split last week, and it'll go through and adjust everyone's splits right here with that taken off the top. And so you can see the adjustments here. This total already gets adjusted, and it says that for you. And so you want to get rid of the adjustment, that's fine, and you delete the adjustment, and it'll go through and recalculate the splits for you. So every time attendance changes and auctions get sold, these splits get recalculated live for everybody. Everyone can come to my DKP and see the history of all their splits received. And yeah, they can also, I didn't mention this, but you can filter by raid, and it'll give you a total for how much you spent that raid, which is pretty nice. But yeah, anyway, so the other thing on this raids page is the DKP ticks, and you can delete an entire tick, and it'll go through and recalculate the splits for you. You can delete single members from ticks, and that'll be fine. You can go to their DKP page from here to check on all their stats. But you can also add members to the tick. So if people are missed, you can go one per line or space, whatever. It just needs to be space delineated, and it'll figure that out. And yeah, so that'll all recalculate when it needs to. And I think that is pretty much it for gDKP mode. Yeah. Really cool live updates to data. You've got EQ RaidBoss to make pretty much everything just copy paste, and so you don't have to use a spreadsheet anymore, and it's all just completely automated, except for, like, for us, the loot collection and who's holding the loot and who has sent the loot to where it needs to go. That is the only thing that I have not automated here, but there's not really any reason to, because It's just too much data that Raid Builder does not have and does not want to know about. So yeah, it's just pure gDKP mode. Pretty much automated as much as I think is possible, so you don't have to be a spreadsheet wizard to run a plat raid, and everything will be super smooth, super slick, as little work as possible for you. So yeah, enjoy the gDKP mode in Raid Builder.